check this out. Even on pavement, if I get on the throttle hard, what you see behind me are two UBCO 2x2s. These are two-wheel drive electric bikes, and they're pretty cool. So let's give them a quick look. So here is a pretty steep dirt hill. Oh look, here's some rocks. So here we have two different models of the UBCO 2x2, and we have a product expert, Clayton, here, who's gonna walk us through these bikes. Now Clayton, you actually put these together yourself, right?
Yeah, I'm the service and assembly technician here for UBCO Bikes. We actually manufacture them here in Eugene, Oregon. So it's a New Zealand company though, out of Taronga. It's basically designed and manufactured down there in New Zealand, and we actually, for the North American market, are the ones who put them together here for the United States.
Top speed of 30 miles per hour, right?
Yep, that's the one. They're a Class M2 motorcycle, so they basically do 30 miles an hour, and we've got the 2x2 is the front and rear drive motorcycle here. So your front wheel drives as well as your rear. So we actually designed these motors and everything in-house, as well as we designed our own custom battery here as well.
You can either have a 2.1 kilowatt hour battery or a 3.1.
Yep, that's the ones. So basically flip up the seat here, you got your toolkit underneath here. This will have your instruction manual and a set of tools for it. So to take out the battery, basically just remove the strap. On the Gen 5s now, we have a lock over here if you want to lock your battery in place.
Nice.
On the back side here, we've got your power console, or your power port, and you just lift this bad boy out. We're looking at about 30 pounds on the battery and everything, plus or minus a few for the 3.1 or 2.1, but same size for both batteries.
So the total weight on the bikes with the battery in them is what? It's about 145 pounds with a smaller battery and 155-ish?
It's actually about 145 with that 3.1 in it,
and
then about 105 when you take out the battery and stuff. So
the idea with this would be that it would be good to throw this on a rack behind your truck, take it out camping, you could use it for hunting, fishing, and yeah, this is a pretty easy bike to lift up. It's super tight and compact, and then getting this battery back in here. Let's see, I'm not as practiced as Clayton, but there it goes. Plug it back in, and yeah, that's a pretty simple operation. Right now I'm on dirt. Yeah, when you throttle it hard, it'll spin that front tire as well as the rear, which is pretty cool actually. Now, something I am having to get used to is that your front brake is on the right. That makes sense for a motorcycle, but both of your brakes are on the handlebar, which is the same for example, my mountain bike. But my mountain bike has a brake on the right side like most bicycles. So yeah, a little bit of an adjustment, but I'm already getting used to it. It's funny when that front end loses traction, it hops. It's cool. This is the adventure and that's the work, right?
Yep. So this one is fully on-road capable. We've gone through and got NHTSA approval and SEA approval. So this is a Class M2 motorcycle. So you register it and license it just like a moped. You basically don't have to have the endorsement in most states here for riding because it's a moped territory. And this is our work bike. This is for your off-road rugged utility bike. We even have a couple guys who strap them to the bottom of their airplanes and everything, fly out into the middle of the woods so they can actually get around. And we actually shipped a few of those up to Alaska just recently.
Way cool. So looking at some differences that I can just see myself between these two. This work version of the bike obviously doesn't have any kind of display on it. And if we walk around to the adventure version, you can see there's a pretty minimalist display here, but you can also set this up with an app on your phone, right?
Yep. So we have the UBCO 2x2 app and everything. It's available both on Android and iOS platforms. So you can basically, whichever system you're using and everything, you can download the app and control the features of the bike. You can control the regen and the level of power that it outputs all the way up to boost mode. And then you can also check any diagnostic faults that come up on the bike. So say you're riding and everything and any kind of fault happens on the bike, that's actually going to get logged in your diagnostic field. And you can also add a key fob and everything. So for our Gen 5s, we eliminated the keys. And so on our 2018s, right here on our console, we used to have a set of keys here. So now we use a keyless fob and everything, and also our red button here. So This is your start button and your ACC, from going from ACC to run mode there.
You've got a steering lock here as well.
Yep, just in case you want to like basically lock up the battery and lock up the bike and walk away from it. That security mode actually will allow you only to use the key fob to start the bike. If you take it off of security mode, then you can use the red button just to start it. That's for people who are you know, out in either on the farm and everything, or out hunting and not necessarily worried about leaving the bike out. So.
Right, and then I can also see a difference here between the Adventure and the Work is obviously the lighting setup. Because this Adventure is street legal, it's got turn signals and a slightly different headlight design as the Work version of the bike, which is much more boiled down and simple. So what is the difference in price between the Work and the Adventure, and then what are the pricing differences between the smaller and the larger battery?
So your Work bike is about $6,500 with the 2.1 battery, and about $7,000 with the 3.1. So it's an extra $500 for the larger battery. We've had a lot of people actually go for that 3.1 just because you're going to get that extra little bit of range. It's about a 70-mile range, and you know, even if you're in the worst territory and everything, we're still getting consistently 50 miles and everything out of her. So, in this Adventure bike here, these are $7,500 and everything with the 3.1 battery.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You don't know of any, like, slightly, I don't know, something that would be an obstacle for something this size?
You mean
Some kind of like
jump or something?
Not even a jump, just like maybe a little loose dirt hill.
We
or...
have a bicycle park right back here.
Well, that guy told me maybe I could hit the mountain bike park with this. I'll give it a rip. Well, at speed, you probably can't hear me super well. But the suspension, it's pretty nice on this bike. It rides relatively smooth even over this dirt road. So yeah, you'd have no problem doing some farm type work, getting across a large property, or going maybe from your campsite to a place to go, again, do some fishing, do some hunting, whatever you want. I'm gonna cruise over this right here. Yeah, this is fun. It's pretty approachable, easy to ride. It doesn't weigh that much. Yeah, pretty low stress, I would say. Oh, look, here's some rocks. Yeah, it cruises.
It's the whole point of these utility bikes is actually there's the ability to mount all sorts of different things to it. So all these frame mounting points right here, and you've got them on the back, on the front, on the sides. So those are modular mounting points and everything. You pop an M8 bolt behind that and you can basically add any kind of kit you want onto it. I've seen people add fishing rods and gun racks, and I saw somebody put a chainsaw on the back of one because he was a sawyer. There was also a guy, I think the most clever use though is actually there's a lot of farmers who use them down there in New Zealand, and so they have to move their sheep from paddock to paddock and have to set up a temporary like little spot to, you know, to get the sheep out. And so they'll put the electric line on the back, spool it out, and ride out as they move the sheep and everything. They'll basically have all the poles and the line, and they'll just spool it out there. So.
And then, so the range, you said about 70 miles with the bigger battery. How about the 2.1?
Yeah, still about 60, 70 miles and everything on that one as well.
Okay.
And stuff, so.
And then what are the charging times?
So from 0 to 100% and everything, it's about 6 to 8 hours, but you're generally getting the bulk of your charging happening in the very beginning.
And then you said the two different batteries, they have pretty similar range?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those ones. So you're going to get a little bit less on the kilowatt hours for the 2.1, so you're looking still probably about 50-mile range consistently. 50 to 60. Obviously, if you... we
Depends on how you're using it.
Yeah, we've got a learner mode and everything, so that'll drop it down into 18 miles an hour and everything, and 750 watts. So that'll give you the farthest range for sure and everything. But if you're gunning it down the trails and everything and climbing hills, then the range is a little bit reduced, but that's the same with any lithium-ion powered bike and everything.
And then let's check out the front end here. So you can see we've obviously got a disc brake on this opposite side. Yeah. But here is the front hub motor. So are the motors front and back exactly the same? What's the power on them? Yeah, so this is our new motor and everything for Gen 5. Actually, we redesigned this one and reduced the number of turns from a 12 turn to a 6 turn. It's basically our flex drive motor and everything. Based off a Mac platform, we actually integrate all of the cable into this one. So if you want to remove the front wheel, you just undo this guy right here and drop down this HIGO connector. And this contains all your phase wires and your current sensing wires and your temperature sensor in there. Right now I'm in some kind of loose sand and no problems with traction. no problems with staying balanced. Bike's light, so you can manhandle it. All in all, this UBCO is really cool. It's you can definitely tell it's a simple vehicle, but honestly, for an off-roader, that's kind of what you want. But I like it. Definitely worth a look.